You know, a lot of people are like, you know, GMOs have been around a lot longer than you think, bud. And then I get educated. I'm like, well, okay. So I'm not thinking like short term genetically modifying food. I'm thinking 100 years, 1,000 years. These things start interbreeding. They start creating alkaloids that are poison. You know, they start
Sure.
altering. The natural circadian rhythm. You know, or so not circadian rhythm. That's your brain. But I'm saying the natural harmony within the environment.
Sure.
You're stirring the pot in a way that only if you want to get like religious, so only in ways that there's just things that should not these things shouldn't be messed with, you know.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. I have a perfect attack and counterpoint to that bullshit propaganda idea that, people have, the thing you just said, people have been manipulating and doing genetic engineering forever. No, they haven't. Not in the way that it's done now. And allow me to explain. What they do now is parallel evolution. And I'll get into that in a minute. But what we've been doing for thousands of years is selectively breeding animals and crops to have specific traits. And when we do that, the animals are similar to one another in their genetics. When their cells divide and when their various tissues get put together, the T cells live in the bone marrow, and then that moves out through the bones and through the various parts of the body, and then divides and makes the various type cells. When that shit happens, okay, the creatures are similar. They have to be similar enough to one another that they can't cause dramatic changes in the expression of phenotypes. So dramatic changes like, things that just don't fit, like a super antibiotic resistant strain of bacteria, for instance, or whatever. Like it just can't, when you're taking, donkeys and horses and making jackasses, you can't get something that's that much different than a jackass. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So those things are subject when we create when we inbreed an animal to have specific traits. Evolution through point mutation, because everything mutates a little bit every time it makes another copy of itself. Okay. The creature is subject to a long-term environmental stimuli that's exerted upon it, and it will change slowly. So it changes in harmony. So that's what happens. Things change in harmony when we selectively breed. Like making corn, for instance. Corn used to be fucking grass. Now it's really huge grass, and the seeds are fucking yummy, and we make almost everything out of it. Fruit roll-ups and fucking pills to, get your dick hard, the lining from them. But anywho, so that's the kind of evolution that we had. Genetic manipulation that we've been doing for years. So what they do now is parallel evolution. They're going to take this is one kind of genome and this is another, and put them beside each other, and they use various techniques. They have things called a gene gun, which takes microparticles of gold, and they put the genetic material here, the DNA there, and then they spray the microparticles of gold in it, and that knocks off certain parts of it, and then they put the genomes back together. Okay, so they take one creature that's way over here and one that's way over there, and then they switch traits between them. So parallel evolution. Okay, and what they do when they they take the genome and they spray it with the gold particles is they basically tailor make this DNA chain to look like this. And then there's a process called viral recombinant gene resequencing. Now, viruses have these neat little appendages and type, basically like imagine little arms and pinchers. And since viruses replicate in a very predictable way, scientists have figured out how to make the viruses snip and pinch DNA. So they take this kind of creature that evolved, billions and billions of years differently than this creature, and then they blast parts of their DNA off prospectively, put them back together, put a virus in it, then the virus snips them back together, and then this thing is born. Like Jeep, for instance. Goat sheep hybrids. Those are fun. Or there's something called biosteel. Google this shit. They've actually taken the genes of a golden egg spider and combine. No. They've taken the genes of a golden orb spider and the genes of a goat and put them together, and then they milk the goat spider hybrid, and then they run that through a chemical process, and they have a thread that's like synthetic spiders. It's going to be Kevlar 2.0, but it's going to be like light years ahead of that. I mean, they're going to be able to build suspension bridges that hold cars with cables that are about this big with that shit. Like it's incredible. Like it's the strongest material ever. But what they don't tell you is that said spider fucking goat, like, they have no idea what's going to happen when spider goat fucking makes another spider goat, and then that spider goat makes another spider goat, because when creatures evolve over billions of years together, they develop a harmony. But that harmony is upset and thrown out of whack when you have this thing, it's got all kinds of bacteria in its gut that's never been seen since dinosaurs were fucking other dinosaurs. Like, they just have no idea the net effect of these creatures, and they don't care. They're just developing a product, So, that's a very long, heady explanation for why I think that the corporate heads of Monsanto should drown themselves in buckets of hot monkey shit, but that's how I feel about it.
You seen that dachshund? They changed one gene, growth gene. They can make that thing look like a Rottweiler on steroids, man.
Oh yeah, I saw that. I saw that Arnold the dog. That was so frightening. Like,
it's a friggin' dachshund, man.
Right. That's a Dachshund, the Schwarzenegger version of Dachshund. It's like a wiener dog. Yeah, man. Just the shit that they're doing, man.
Well, there was a group of activists, in France that took on the Monsanto's corporation, head on, and they burned one of their lab facilities,
Well, I don't specifically advocate for violence, but couldn't have happened to a better corporation. But yeah, not my bag. But I'm not gonna cry about it.
Boy, Monsanto's destroyed so many farmers. I mean, when their GMO crap blows into their field and they blame the farmer, for stealing their product. I mean, they got a scam going.
Well, you hear what they did in India, right? They got all these farmers in India, caught on. A lot of them bought on to the game that they would for their cotton, and not only did they market it that would produce better, but the seeds were stagnant. They couldn't produce afterwards. So what they did is they sold them cheap the first year, and then jacked the fucking price up of the fucking seeds the next year. And there was a lot of these farmers that couldn't pay off their fucking loans, and a lot of them committed suicide.
Yeah, it was a couple 100,000. It was huge.
Yeah. Totally fucking evil. Yeah.
So is there any way for us to know how many people are watching? Like, is there a chat going on right now up there? Is that what that
is? At least 3,000 views so far. I got
nice.
I got censored by FedBook from sharing it out at about 20.
Well, right now,
about 20,000 or 20 people.
Right now, I see like 13 people on Facebook. We're also streaming to YouTube, so I'm not sure how many on YouTube are watching.
Oh, nice.
Now. Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I was just curious. Well, hi everybody.
I've also found out over long term that some of the numbers that you see on Facebook Live are a little bit inaccurate, and especially if people are sharing links in odd places. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
I share links in odd places. That'd make a great meme.
But so like, and going back to filming cops, like, what is the craziest shit you've ever seen?
Craziest shit I've ever seen while filming cops?
Yeah.
Some stand out more than others. I can tell. Two Halloweens ago, I saw something that just made me die. I don't remember the name of the video, but it's on my channel somewhere if you dig deep enough. I saw the aftermath. I got there as the police were pulling up and pulling the two combatants apart. But it was Halloween, and it was a fight between a flamboyantly muscular gay fella dressed as Officer Dangle from Reno 911, and a muscular dude in a Superman costume. And Officer Dangle just fucked Superman up. I mean, Superman's had a bloody nose. He had a fucked up mouth. Like, it was just amazing. And then just watching blood all over his shirt, just watching the police arrest Officer Dangle in his little brown shorts was just a laugh riot. It was. I was just like, wow. Like, I was thinking, this is going to make 1 million views on YouTube. I'm going to be rich. It's going to make 50 million views. It got like, maybe 30,000 views or whatever. But like, I thought it was fucking hilarious. Crazy shit. The amount of cops I saw at Malheur and the federal response, I mean, you haven't had a pucker until you see 6 MRAPs roll by you, full of paranoid police state goons that are thinking that the militia is going to shoot everybody, like that was pretty intense.
Yeah, that kind of happens. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, the 6 MRAPs will make you pucker. Let's see. Ferguson was pretty intense. Crazy stuff. When I was at Standing Rock, out of all the riots I've seen, out of all the protests I've filmed, out of the NATO summits, the May Day protests, I mean, I've seen cops get hit in the face with bricks. Like, that was pretty surreal. Like, well, it was a brick. It was like, looked like a half of a brick-sized piece of concrete at May Day 2016. 2016 in Seattle, May Day, there was these people throwing Molotovs at cops.